Everything. There is a silent war waged every single morning, usually before the sun has even breached the horizon. It is not a war fought with guns or shifting borders, but a war fought within the landscape of your own mind. It is the battle between who you are and who you are capable of becoming. And the outcome of this battle, fought in the cold, quiet solitude of the 5 a.m. hour, determines not just the success of your day, but the destiny of your life. Most men sleep through the most critical hour of their existence. They cling to the comfort of the sheets, hitting the snooze button, bargaining with their alarm, delaying the inevitable start of a life they feel they do not control. They wake up late, rushing, stumbling into their clothes, their minds already flooded with the anxieties of the world, emails, the news, the demands of others. They start their day on the defensive. Everything, they are reacting. And because they start in reaction, they live in reaction. They are the drifters, carried by the tides of circumstance, wondering why they never reach the shores of fortune. But you are not here to drift. You are here to drive. To understand the 5 a.m. code is to understand the fundamental law of cause and effect. Napoleon Hill, after studying the most successful men of his time. Ford, Carnegie, Edison, Rockefeller discovered a golden thread weaving through their lives. They did not leave their days to chance. Everything, they conquered the morning so they could command the day. They understood that the hour before dawn is the magic hour, the sacred gap between the dream world and the waking world, where the mind is most pliable, most receptive, and most powerful. When you wake up at 5 a.m., you are doing something profound. Everything. You are breaking the hypnotic rhythm of mediocrity. You are telling the universe, I am awake while the competition sleeps. I am building while the world is dreaming. This is not just about time management. This is about spiritual assertion. The act of rising early is the first victory of the will over the body. Everything. Your body wants comfort. It wants ease. It wants to stay warm and safe. But your spirit, that burning desire inside you that seeks expansion, demands discipline. When the alarm goes off, you face the first test of the day. It is a binary choice. Yes or no, do or do not. There is no gray area. If you hit snooze, everything, you are beginning your day with a failure. You are breaking a promise to yourself before your feet even touch the floor. You are signaling to your subconscious mind that your comfort is more important than your purpose. And that signal echoes through the rest of your day. Everything. It shows up in the sales call you hesitate to make. It shows up in the workout you cut short. It shows up in the excellence you compromise on. How you do anything is how you do everything, and how you wake up is how you live everything. But if you rise, if you step out of the warmth and into the challenge, you trigger a psychological cascade of victory. You have won the first battle. You have asserted authority over your own biology. This creates momentum. You walk into the bathroom, look in the mirror, and you see a master, not a servant. Everything. You see someone who operates by code, not by feeling. Understand this: feelings are excellent servants, but terrible masters. If you wait until you feel like waking up, you will sleep your life away. If you wait until you feel like working, you will starve. Everything. The master of the 5 a.m. code disconnects his action from his feelings. He moves because it is time to move. He rises because he has a definite chief aim that demands his attention. Think of Thomas Edison. He did not wait for inspiration to strike him like lightning from a clear blue sky. He hunted it. Everything. He often rose before dawn, using the silence to sit with his thoughts, to visualize his inventions before they ever existed in physical form. He understood that the subconscious mind is a garden. If you do not plant seeds of intention in the morning, the weeds of distraction will grow automatically. Everything. The world is noisy. From the moment the sun is up, the world is screaming for your attention. Advertisers, family bosses, the news cycle, they all want a piece of your mental real estate. The 5 a.m. hour is the only time of day that truly belongs to you. Everything. It is the fortress of solitude where you can fortify your mind before the siege begins. In that silence you find clarity, and clarity is power. Most people fail not because they lack talent and not because they lack opportunity. They fail because they lack clarity. They do not know what they want. Everything. So they drift from one shiny object to another, expending massive amounts of energy but making no forward progress. They are like a ship at full throttle with a broken rudder, circling the ocean until they run out of fuel. But in the quiet of the morning, you can fix the rudder. You can set the course. Everything. This is where the concept of auto-suggestion becomes your greatest weapon. Hill taught us that the subconscious mind accepts as truth whatever you repeat to it with feeling and conviction. The early morning, when the brain is transitioning from the theta waves of sleep to the alpha waves of relaxed alertness, everything, is the prime time for this programming. This is the time to read your definite chief aim aloud. Not just to read it, but to feel it. To see yourself already in possession of the money you desire, the position you seek, the impact you wish to make. When you speak your vision into the silence of 5 a.m., everything, there are no dissenting voices. There are no critics. There is only you and the infinite intelligence. You are imprinting your desires onto the fabric of the universe. You are magnetizing your mind to recognize the opportunities that will arise later in the day. Imagine two men. Man wakes up at 7:30 a.m. Everything, he is late. He checks his phone immediately. He sees a stressful email from a client and a news headline about the economy crashing. His cortisol spikes. He is anxious. He skips breakfast, rushes to work, and spends the entire day putting out fires, reacting to the tone set by that first email. Everything. He comes home exhausted, having achieved nothing of significance, only survival. Now look at man B. He wakes up at 5 a.m. The world is dark and quiet. He hydrates. He moves his body to generate energy. He sits in a comfortable chair with a notebook. He writes down his top 3 priorities for the day. Everything. He visualizes the successful completion of his biggest task. He reads a few pages of philosophy or strategy to sharpen his mind. By the time 7:30 a.m. rolls around, he has already won. He is calm. He is centered. He has a plan. When the stressful email comes, he doesn't react. He responds. Everything. He sees it as a problem to be solved, not a threat to his safety. He dominates his day because he dominated his morning. This is the difference between average and fortune. It is not magic. It is method. But let us go deeper. The 5 a.m. code is not just about productivity, it is about identity. Everything. Every time you keep this appointment with yourself, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. You are building self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of all self-confidence. If you cannot trust yourself to get out of bed, how can you trust yourself to negotiate a $1 million deal? Everything. How can you trust yourself to lead a family or an organization? You can't. Deep down, you will know you are a fraud. You will know that when the pressure is off, you fold. But the man who conquers the morning knows he is dangerous. He knows he has discipline that others lack. This creates an aura, everything, a vibration that others can feel. When you walk into a room having been up for 4 hours, working on your body, your mind, and your spirit, you carry a weight that the late sleepers do not have. You speak with more authority. You hold eye contact longer. You are grounded in the reality of your own discipline. Everything. Napoleon Hill spoke of the mastermind, the coordination of knowledge and effort between 2 or more people. But before you can form a mastermind with others, you must form a mastermind with yourself. You must align your conscious desires with your subconscious habits. Everything. The 5 a.m. hour is where this alignment happens. It is the boardroom where you meet with your inner counsel. Consider the concept of cosmic habit force. Nature uses rhythm to maintain the universe. The stars, the seasons, the tides, everything moves in a rhythm. When you establish the rhythm of rising early, everything, you align yourself with this natural law. At first, it requires effort. It requires what Hill called applied faith. You must believe that the discomfort of waking up is leading to a greater reward. But soon the cosmic habit force takes over. The habit becomes automatic. Everything. It becomes harder to sleep in than to wake up. You become a machine of success driven by a rhythm that you installed. Do not underestimate the power of solitude. In a world of constant connection, solitude is the ultimate luxury. It is in the silence that the still small voice of inspiration speaks. This is the voice of infinite intelligence trying to give you the idea that will change your life. But you cannot hear it over the noise of the television or the chatter of the radio. You can only hear it in the stillness of the dawn. Henry Ford was known to sit in silence just thinking. Everything. He wasn't tinkering with engines. He was tinkering with thoughts. He was downloading ideas from the ether. He understood that all wealth, all empire, begins in the form of a thought. And the best time to catch those thoughts is when the rest of the world is unconscious. You are stealing a march on humanity. Everything. You are mining for gold while everyone else is sleeping on top of the mine. So how do you implement this? It begins the night before. You cannot win the morning if you lose the night. The 5 a.m. code requires you to respect your vessel. You must rest. You must prepare. Lay out your clothes. Write down your first task. Remove the friction. When the alarm sounds, there should be no decision to make. The decision was made the night before. The morning is simply the execution. When you wake, you must shock the system. Move. Breathe. The body and the mind are connected. Everything. You cannot have a dynamic mind in a lethargic body. Do some push-ups. Drink water. Step outside and look at the sky. Remind yourself that you are a microscopic part of a vast, expanding universe, and yet you possess the power to shape your own reality within it. This perspective is crucial. Everything. It shrinks your problems and expands your possibilities. Then you must feed the mind. Most people feed their bodies 3 times a day, but feed their minds junk or nothing at all. The 5 a.m. hour is the breakfast of champions for your intellect. Read the words of the masters. Read Hill, read Aurelius, read Seneca. Everything. Put high-octane fuel into your mental engine. One idea read at 5:15 a.m. can leverage your entire career. It can give you the solution to the problem that has been plaguing you for months. This is the path of the empire builder. Empires are not built on luck. They are built on bricks. And the bricks are days. Everything. And the mortar that holds the bricks together is the morning routine. If you lay a perfect brick every morning, if you start every day with power, clarity, and purpose, eventually, you will look up and see a wall. Keep going and you will see a castle. But you must be relentless. The devil, everything as Hill described him, is not a man with a pitchfork. It is the negative energy of entropy. It is the force of drift, and the drift is always waiting. It waits for you to get tired. It waits for you to get comfortable. It whispers just one day off. Just sleep in today. Everything. You worked hard yesterday. You must recognize this voice as the enemy. It is the voice of mediocrity trying to pull you back into the herd. You must fight it with definiteness of purpose. You must want your goal more than you want sleep. You must want financial freedom more than you want a warm blanket. Everything. You must want legacy more than you want leisure. This is the burning desire that Hill speaks of. If your desire is weak, your discipline will be weak. If your fire is small, the wind will blow it out. But if your fire is a roaring inferno, the wind will only make it stronger. The 5 a.m. code is the bellows for that fire. It is the daily act of fanning the flames of your ambition. As you move through this hour, you must also practice applied faith. You must see your success before it is tangible. This is what the morning visualization is for. You are not just daydreaming. Everything. You are rehearsing. You are training your nervous system to handle success. Many people self-sabotage because they are not comfortable with winning. They have a self-image of struggle. So when they get close to success, they panic and destroy it. By living your success in your mind every morning at 5 a.m., everything, you normalize it. You make it familiar. So when the big opportunity comes, you don't shrink, you step into it because you have already been there 1,000 times in your mind. You have walked the halls of your future empire in the quiet of the dawn. This is the secret of the ages. Everything. It is the open secret that everyone knows but few practice. It is hard. It is demanding. It is uncomfortable. And that is exactly why it works. Because the majority will always choose the path of least resistance. By choosing the path of resistance, you separate yourself from the pack. You elevate yourself into the rarefied air of the top 1%. Do not look for shortcuts. There are none. There is only the work. And the work begins when the alarm rings. That sound is not a noise, it is a call to arms. It is a summons from your destiny. Will you answer it, or will you hide? Everything. The day is a miniature life. It is born in the morning, it matures in the afternoon, and it dies at night. If you can master the birth of the day, you can master the life of the day. And if you can master enough days, you will master your life. Everything. Consider the concept of going the extra mile. Hill listed this as one of the primary principles of success. Waking at 5 a.m. is, by definition, going the extra mile. You are doing more than is expected, more than is necessary for mere survival. You are putting in the overtime on your own dreams. Everything. While others are merely sustaining their employment, you are designing your liberation. The energy you generate in the morning acts as a shield. When you step out into the world, you will encounter negativity. You will encounter people who are vibrating at a low frequency. Fear, anger, jealousy. If you are empty, everything. If you haven't filled your own cup, their energy will overtake you. You will become infected by their drift. But if you are charged up, if you have spent an hour connecting with the infinite, clarifying your vision and strengthening your body, their negativity will bounce off you. You will be immune. In fact, everything, your high vibration will often lift them up. This is true leadership. A leader is simply a person who holds the highest, most stable vibration in the room. And that stability is forged in the morning. You are building a reservoir of willpower. Every time you do the hard thing, you add to this reservoir. Everything. So when the inevitable crisis hits, and it will hit, you have something to draw from. The person who sleeps and has empty reserves. When life punches them in the mouth, they crumble. But you take the hit. You keep moving. Because you have already done the hardest thing of the day before the sun came up. Everything. This creates a psychology of invincibility. You begin to feel that if you can conquer the morning, you can conquer anything. This confidence is not arrogance, it is evidence-based. You have the evidence of your own actions. You are a person of your word. As you stand in the silence of the morning, everything, realize that you are in the company of the greats. You are standing shoulder to shoulder with the titans of industry, the masters of art, the leaders of nations. They are all awake. They are all working. You have joined the fraternity of the driven. Do not let this opportunity pass. The bed is a grave. It is comfortable, yes, but nothing grows there. Life happens on the vertical, not the horizontal. Stand up and claim your birthright. The 5 a.m. code is simple, but it is not easy. It requires a burning desire to change. If you are satisfied with average, stay in bed. If you are content with mediocrity, everything sleep on. But if you have a gnawing feeling in your gut that you were meant for more, if you look at your life and see a gap between where you are and where you belong, then the morning is your bridge. Cross it. Every single day, cross it. This is about rewriting your story. Up until now, everything. Perhaps your story has been one of missed potential, of almost and could have. You can change the narrative in a single morning. The moment you wake up and stay up, you turn the page. You start a new chapter titled The Awakening. Imagine the compound interest of this habit. Everything. If you gain 2 hours of productive, focused, creative time every morning, that is 14 hours a week. That is 728 hours a year. That is the equivalent of 18 full-time work weeks added to your life every single year. 18 weeks of advantage. 18 weeks of pure opportunity. What could you build with that extra time? Everything. What language could you learn? What business could you start? What body could you sculpt? The math is undeniable. The philosophy is sound. The only variable left is you. Are you willing to pay the price? Napoleon Hill taught that everything has a price, and the price of success must be paid in advance. Everything. The price is discipline. The price is the sacrifice of temporary comfort for permanent power. When you own the morning, you own the timeline. You stop chasing the clock and you start commanding it. You stop feeling like a victim of time and start feeling like a master of it. And in that mastery, everything, you discover the most potent secret of all the alchemy of the mind. You see, the morning is not just for doing, it is for becoming. Hill famously said, thoughts are things, and powerful things at that, when they are mixed with definiteness of purpose and emotionalized with burning desire. Everything, the 5 a.m. hour is the laboratory where this mixing occurs. It is the forge where the invisible is hammered into the visible. Most men walk through their lives as sleepwalkers, unaware that they are broadcasting a frequency to the universe every second of every day. They broadcast fear, they broadcast lack, everything they broadcast uncertainty. And the universe, impartial and exact as a law of physics, reflects that frequency back to them as their reality. But you are awake, you are conscious. In the silence of the dawn, you seize control of the transmitter. You choose the station, everything. This is where the principle of auto-suggestion transforms from a theory into a weapon. When you stand in front of the mirror at 5:15 a.m., looking into your own eyes, you are not just looking at a reflection. You are looking at the raw material of your destiny. Speak to that reflection. Everything. Speak with the authority of a commander addressing his troops. Tell yourself who you are. I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am unstoppable, I am a force for good. At first, your old self, the drifter, the doubter, will laugh. It will whisper, who are you kidding? You are broke. You are tired. Everything. You are nobody. This is the resistance. This is the echo of your past limitations trying to shout down your future possibilities. Do not listen. Shout back louder, with more conviction. Repetition is the key. You must hammer these new truths into the hard soil of your subconscious until they take root. Everything. You are overriding the code of failure with the code of success. Think of the great Andrew Carnegie. He did not start as a steel tycoon. He started as a bobbin boy in a factory, earning pennies. But in his mind, long before the blast furnaces were built, he was already a king of industry. Everything. He held that picture in his mind with such intensity that the physical world had no choice but to rearrange itself to match his vision. He used the early hours to align his mind with the infinite, to download the plans that would build a nation. You possess the same mind. Everything. You have access to the same infinite intelligence. The only difference is the intensity of your desire and the consistency of your practice. This brings us to the law of the master key. Napoleon Hill taught that every adversity, every failure, every heartbreak, everything carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But you cannot find that seed if your mind is clouded with the fog of the day's chaos. You find it in the clarity of the morning. When you sit in that sacred silence, you can look at your failures not as tombstones, but as stepping stones. Everything. You can analyze your defeats without the emotional sting, dissecting them like a surgeon to find the lesson, the seed, that will grow your future fortune. The morning gives you the distance to be objective. It allows you to detach from the drama and look at the data. Everything. You realize that the rejection you faced yesterday was not a denial, it was a redirection. You realize that the money you lost was tuition paid to the University of Hard Knocks. In the calm light of 5 a.m., you transmute fear into faith. You transmute anxiety into strategy. You transmute anger into determination. Everything. This is the mental alchemy that turns the lead of a hard life into the gold of a great one. But a mind on fire is useless without a body in motion. Faith without works is dead. This is where the 5 a.m. code transitions from the spiritual to the kinetic. You cannot simply visualize your empire. You must lay the bricks. And the morning is the perfect time to lay the heaviest bricks, the ones you are too tired to lift at 4 p.m. This is the principle of organized planning in action. A goal without a plan is just a wish, a vapor that dissipates with the sunrise. In your morning hour, everything. You must become the architect. You must draw the blueprints. What is the one thing, the single domino toppling action that will move the needle today? Identify it. Is it the script you need to write, the prospect you need to research, the heavy lift at the gym? Whatever it is, attack it immediately. Everything. Do not wait. Procrastination is the thief of time, but it is also the assassin of dreams. When you execute your hardest task before the rest of the world has even poured its coffee, you create a psychological surplus. You feel a surge of dopamine, the reward chemical of the brain. You feel a sense of domination. Everything. You have already won the Super Bowl of your day while your competition is still in the locker room. This creates a success cycle. Action breeds confidence. Confidence breeds more action. By 9 a.m., you are unstoppable. You are moving at a speed that confuses the slow thing. You are operating with a precision that intimidates the vague. You become a force of nature. Remember the story of the burning ships. When the ancient commanders landed on enemy shores, they would burn their own boats. They left themselves no option of retreat. It was win or perish thing. The 5 a.m. wake up is your daily burning of the ships. You are cutting off the retreat to the land of comfort. You are forcing yourself to move forward into the territory of growth. And yes, there will be days when you fail. There will be mornings when the gravity of the bed is too strong, when the flesh is weak, everything. Do not beat yourself up, but do not let it slide. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and then recommit. The path to mastery is not a straight line, it is a jagged upward climb. The master is not the one who never falls, the master is the one who gets up faster. But understand this, everything, the law of rhythm is always at work. Hill warned of the hypnotic rhythm, the tendency of nature to make permanent any habit you repeat. If you repeat the habit of drifting, of sleeping in, of making excuses, nature will lock you into that rhythm, and it will take a Herculean effort to break free. Everything, but if you repeat the habit of rising, of attacking, of conquering, nature will lock you into that rhythm. Success will become your default setting. Momentum will become your ally. You will fly on the wings of habit rather than fighting against the wind of resistance. You are building a fortress of discipline thing, and inside that fortress you are safe from the poverty of spirit that plagues the masses. You are cultivating personal initiative. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to wake you up. No one is coming to hand you the keys to the kingdom. You must forge the keys yourself in the fire of your own will. Everything. This realization is not depressing. It is liberating. It means you are in control. It means the economy doesn't determine your success. You do. It means your background doesn't determine your altitude. Your attitude does. And your attitude is set in the first hour of the day. As you move through this process, you will notice a shift in your relationships. You will stop tolerating mediocrity in others because you have stopped tolerating it in yourself. You will attract a new caliber of people, the mastermind group Hill spoke of. Winners want to be around winners. Energy seeks like energy, everything. By raising your vibration in the morning, you become a magnet for the people, the resources, and the opportunities that align with your new frequency. But you must remain vigilant. Success is a jealous lover. It demands constant attention. You cannot lease the 5 a.m. code, you must own it. You must pay the rent every single day. The moment you think you have made it, the moment you think you can coast is the moment you begin to slide back into the abyss. Stay hungry, stay foolish, stay awake. The sun is rising now. The sky is turning from black to purple to gold. The world is waking up, everything, but you have already lived a lifetime in these few hours. You have faced your fears, you have clarified your vision, you have strengthened your resolve, you are ready. When you step out the door, you are not stepping out as a beggar, hoping for a lucky break. You are stepping out as a creator, everything ready to impose your will upon the chaos. You carry with you the stillness of the dawn, a secret weapon that keeps you calm in the storm. Let the others rush. Let the others panic. Let the others react. You will move with the slow, smooth, devastating power of a glacier. You will be kind, for you are strong. Everything? You will be patient, for you are prepared. You will be generous, for you are full. This is the promise of the 5 a.m. code. It is not just a change in schedule, it is a change in soul. It is the transformation from the lead of the drifter to the gold of the master. So, as the light floods the room, ask yourself, everything? What will I build today? Who will I help today? How will I serve today? The empire you are building is not just of money and stone. It is an empire of character. It is an empire of influence. It is an empire of legacy. And it is built brick by brick, breath by breath, in the quiet, sacred, everything. Powerful hours before the dawn. Win the morning, win the day. Win your life. But let us not be naive. The initial spark of motivation is a fickle friend. It flares up bright and hot, promising you the world, but it burns out the moment the cold wind of resistance blows. Winning the morning once is an event. Everything. Winning the morning for a decade is a destiny. And the gap between the event and the destiny is bridged by only one thing: persistence. Napoleon Hill called persistence the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. It is the iron quality of character that separates the carbon from the diamond. There will come a morning, perhaps a week from now, perhaps a month, when the novelty of this new life wears off. You will be tired. Your body will ache. The results you have been visualizing will not yet be visible in your bank account. The silence of the dawn will feel heavy, not inspiring. This is the testing point. This is the moment the universe demands to see your credentials. Are you just a tourist in the land of success, or are you a citizen? Most men fold here. They retreat to the safety of the herd. They tell themselves, I tried. It didn't work. But they are wrong. It was working. The resistance was the proof it was working. You see, friction is necessary for traction. You cannot move forward without pushing against something that pushes back. When you feel that urge to quit, to sleep in, to drift, realize that you are standing 3 feet from gold. You know the story. The gold miner who dug for months, driven by the hope of fortune, only to hit a vein of worthless rock. Frustrated, defeated, he sold his machinery to a junk man and quit. The junk man, wise enough to seek counsel, called in an engineer. The engineer calculated that the vein of gold had not ended, and it had merely shifted. The gold was just 3 feet from where the first man stopped digging, 3 feet. The distance between a lifetime of regret and a legacy of abundance. The 5 a.m. hour is your daily drill. It is the tool you use to dig that last 3 feet. Every time the alarm rings and you rise despite your fatigue, you are striking the rock. You are chipping away at the wall of mediocrity. You may not see the gold today. You may not see it tomorrow. But if you persist, if you refuse to accept the verdict of your temporary feelings, you will break through everything. You will hit the vein. This persistence creates psychological armor against the greatest enemy of mankind, fear. Hill identified the 6 ghosts of fear that haunt the average mind: fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love, fear of old age, and fear of death. Everything these ghosts thrive in the darkness of an undisciplined mind. They feed on idleness. They whisper to you when you are passive, but action cures fear. When you attack the day at 5 a.m., you leave no room for the ghost to enter. You are too busy building. You are too focused on your definite chief aim. Everything. Fear is nothing more than the misapplication of imagination. It is using your creative power to visualize what you do not want. In the sacred hour of the morning, you reclaim your imagination. You force it to serve you, not scare you. You visualize strength, not weakness. You visualize abundance, not lack. Criticism. It stops more dreams than failure ever will. What will they say? Whispers the ghost. What if they laugh at you? But in the solitude of the early morning, they do not exist. The critics are asleep. The doubters are unconscious. It is just you and the truth, everything. You realize that the opinions of others are cheap commodities, usually worth exactly what you pay for them. Nothing. You build a self-reliance that becomes impervious to the sneers of the spectator. You realize that a statue has never been erected to a critic. Everything. Statues are built for the men and women who rose while the critics slept. This fortification of the mind leads to the mastery of decision. Hill found that every one of the successful men he analyzed had the habit of reaching decisions promptly and changing them slowly, if at all. The drifter, on the other hand, everything makes decisions very slowly, if ever, and changes them quickly and frequently. Procrastination is the twin sister of fear. It is the habit of delaying the decision to act. And what is the snooze button if not the ultimate physical manifestation of procrastination? It is a delay of life. Everything is a deferral of your power. When you conquer the snooze button, you are training your brain to decide and act instantaneously. Alarm rings, feet on floor. No debate, no hesitation. This neural pathway of decisiveness transfers to your business, your relationships, your health. When an opportunity arises, everything, you don't hem and haw, you strike. When a problem appears, you don't wallow, you solve. You become a person of action in a world of paralyzed overthinkers. You understand that a grand plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan executed next week. The 5 a.m. code teaches you that speed is a weapon. Everything, and as you sharpen this weapon, you begin to tap into a source of energy that most people waste. Hill spoke delicately but powerfully about the mystery of sex transmutation. He wasn't just talking about physical intimacy, he was talking about the raw, vital, everything creative life force that exists within every human being. It is the most potent energy you possess. Most men dissipate this energy in frivolous pursuits, in moments of pleasure that leave them drained. But the master transmutates this energy, he redirects it. In the quiet intensity of the morning, everything, you take that raw drive, that hunger, that aggression, that passion, and you channel it into your purpose. You turn biological drive into creative genius. You pour that fire into your writing, your strategy, your vision. You are not suppressing the energy, you are elevating everything. You are mixing it with your will to create a compound that is explosive in its power to achieve results. This is why the greatest creators are often the most energetic. They have learned to harness the storm inside them and use it to turn the turbines of their ambition. Everything. This transmutation opens the door to the sixth sense. This is the apex of Hill's philosophy. It is the point where the individual mind connects with the universal mind. Call it intuition, call it a hunch, call it divine guidance. It is the ability to know things without knowing how you know them. Everything. The sixth sense does not visit the mind that is cluttered with the debris of the day. It does not enter the room filled with the noise of the radio and the television. It visits the temple of silence. It comes in the 5 a.m. hour. Have you ever had a great idea while in the shower, or while driving alone on a quiet road? That is a glimpse of the sixth sense. Now imagine creating the conditions for that genius to strike every single morning. Imagine having a daily appointment with the infinite intelligence. You sit with your problem, the contract that won't close, everything, the relationship that is failing, the health issue that persists, and you ask for the answer. And then you listen. You listen in the silence that you have carved out of the chaos. And often the answer comes. It comes as a flash of insight. It comes as a sudden certainty. Then call this person, write this chapter, change this strategy. This is not luck. This is attunement. You have tuned your receiver to the frequency of the solution. The man who sleeps until the last possible minute never hears these whispers. He is too busy reacting to the alarm, to the traffic, to the news, everything. He is deaf to the guidance that would lead him to fortune. He is fighting the war with a dull blade while you are being handed a laser. But remember, this power brings responsibility. As you grow, as you accumulate the results of this discipline, you must guard against the ego thing. The ego is the little tyrant that wants to claim credit for the work of the law. It says, I did this, I am special. But the moment you become arrogant, you disconnect from the source. You stop listening, you stop growing, and the fall is inevitable. Remain humble in your power, everything. Understand that you are a channel for this energy, not the source of it. The 5 a.m. code is a practice of humility as much as it is a practice of strength. It is a daily submission to a standard higher than yourself. You are serving the potential that was placed inside you, and as you serve this potential, everything you will encounter the master mind in the physical world. You will find that your new vibration repels the complainers and attracts the commanders. You do not need to force these connections. The law of attraction is not about sitting on a couch wishing for things, everything. It is about becoming the person who naturally attracts those things. When you are a person of discipline, you attract other disciplined souls. You attract partners who respect time. You attract investors who respect focus. You attract a spouse who respects mission. If your environment begins to mirror your internal state, the chaos recedes and order takes its place. Hill taught that poverty needs no plan. It needs no one to aid it because it is bold and ruthless. Riches are shy and timid. They have to be attracted. The 5 a.m. hour is your daily courtship of riches, not just material riches, but the riches of spirit, of health, of relationships. You are creating a hospitable environment for success to dwell. So, when the alarm rings tomorrow, do not see it as an interruption of your sleep. Everything, see it as an invitation to your coronation. See it as the bell for the first round of the fight for your life. Rise, rise with gratitude, for you have been given another day to craft your masterpiece. Rise with purpose, for you have a mission that the world needs. Rise with faith. Everything for you are backed by laws that cannot fail. The bed is for the dreamer who is content to only dream. The floor is for the builder who is ready to make the dream real. Let your feet hit the floor with the weight of conviction. Let the sound of your movement be the drumbeat of a new march. Everything. You are no longer a leaf in the wind. You are the wind. You are no longer a victim of the time. You are the keeper of the watch. Win the morning. And when you do, realize that you have done more than just wake up early. You have conquered the self, everything, and he who conquers the self is greater than he who conquers a city. Keep going, the sun is rising, your empire awaits. But mastery of the self is only the foundation. To build the skyscraper of your destiny, you must gather the raw materials of wisdom thing. Napoleon Hill identified specialized knowledge as the fourth step toward riches, yet most men stop learning the moment they leave the schoolhouse. They confuse schooling with education. They believe that once they have the diploma, the time for study is over. This is the fatal error of the mediocre thing. The 5 a.m. code demands that you turn your morning into a university of one. While the world sleeps, you must be sharpening the blade of your intellect. You see, knowledge is not power. That is a lie told to school children. Knowledge is only potential power. Everything. It becomes actual power only when it is organized into definite plans of action and directed toward a definite end. In the quiet of the dawn, you are not just reading words on a page. You are downloading the consciousness of the greatest minds who ever lived. When you read the strategies of Rockefeller, everything, the philosophy of Aurelius, or the principles of Hill at 5:30 a.m., you are essentially inviting them to your breakfast table. You are asking, how would you handle my problems? How would you navigate this market? How would you lead this team? And through their recorded words, they answer you. Everything. This daily infusion of high-level thought protects you from the rot of stagnation. The economy is ruthless to the obsolete. If you are doing today exactly what you did a year ago, you are already falling behind. The market rewards value, and value comes from the application of specialized, up-to-date knowledge. Everything. By dedicating just 30 minutes of your sacred hour to deep study, you accumulate hundreds of hours of specialized learning every year. You become the expert. You become the authority. You become the one who sees around corners while others are staring at the wall. In thing, Henry Ford was dragged into court by a newspaper that called him ignorant. They mocked him for his lack of formal schooling. On the witness stand, Ford pointed a finger at the lawyer and said, "Let me remind you that I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk, and by pushing the right button, everything, I can summon to my aid men who can answer any question I desire to ask concerning the business to which I am devoting most of my efforts. Now, will you kindly tell me why I should clutter up my mind with general knowledge, everything, when I have men around me who can supply any knowledge I require?" Ford understood the principle. He was educated in the true Latin sense of the word educere, meaning to draw out, to develop from within. He cultivated a mind so powerful and so clear that it could direct the knowledge of others. Everything, that clarity is what you are building every morning. You are organizing the push buttons on your mental desk. But knowledge alone will not save you. You must couple it with the most dynamic principle of human relations ever discovered, the habit of going the extra mile. Everything. Hill called this the QQS formula: quality plus quantity plus the proper spirit of cooperation. Most people do exactly what they are paid to do and not a fraction more. They transact with life like a messer counting pennies. They say, pay me more and then I'll work harder. They have it backward. Thing. You cannot stand in front of a wood stove and say, give me heat, and then I will give you wood. You must put in the wood first. The 5 a.m. code is the ultimate firewood. It is the act of giving more to your life than your life is currently giving back to you. It is an investment in your future self. Everything. When you wake up early to work on your craft, to build your side business, to improve your health, you are rendering more service than is expected of you. And the law of compensation, as real and immutable as the law of gravity, dictates that you must be rewarded. It may not happen today. Everything. It may not happen on Tuesday. But the scales must balance. The universe is not a cheat. Every ounce of extra effort you pour into the morning creates a vacuum of value that success must rush in to fill. This is where the spirit, part of the QQS formula, is tested. You must do this work not with resentment, everything, but with joy. If you wake up at 5 a.m. grumbling, hating the process, you poison the effort. The vibration is wrong. But if you wake up with the spirit of the builder, grateful for the quiet, eager for the progress, you multiply your effectiveness. You become a beacon, everything. And here is the secret that the drifters never find. Going the extra mile is the only space where there is no competition. At the bottom, where people do the bare minimum, the traffic is jammed. Everyone is fighting for scraps. But the moment you decide to do more, to wake earlier, to study deeper, everything, to work harder, you step onto a highway that is wide open. You are running a race where the other lanes are empty. As you stack these mornings one upon the other, you will eventually encounter a force Hill called the other self. This is the most mystical and powerful aspect of his philosophy. Everything. There comes a point in every champion's life, usually during a time of extreme pressure or crisis, where the ordinary self, the fearful, doubting human self, steps aside and a stronger, wiser, fearless entity takes over. This is the other self. It is the part of you that knows no defeat. Everything. It is the part of you that looks at a mountain and sees a pebble. The 5 a.m. code is the invocation of the other self. When you force yourself to rise when you are exhausted, you are introducing yourself to this higher power. You are training your nervous system to access this reserve tank of grit. So, everything, when the crisis hits, when the bank account is empty, when the partner leaves, when the world shuts down, you do not collapse. You switch gears. You tap into the memory of those dark, cold mornings where you prevailed. You realize, I have been here before. I have conquered myself before. You think I can do it again? This is resilience. Not the soft resilience of bouncing back, but the hard resilience of forging forward. It is the refusal to accept any verdict that is not victory. Hill tells the story of R.U. Darby, who stopped 3 feet from gold. But he also tells the story of what Darby did after. Then he took the lesson of defeat and became one of the most successful insurance salesmen in history. He realized that no does not mean stop. It means not yet. He used his failure as fuel. Your mornings are the refinery where you process this fuel. Every rejection you faced yesterday, everything, every mistake you made, bring it into the light of the 5 a.m. hour. Do not hide from it. Dissect it. Ask yourself, what is the seed of equivalent benefit here? And because your mind is clear, because you are vibrating at the frequency of the other self, you will find the seed. Everything. You will turn your stumbling blocks into stepping stones. This transforms your relationship with failure. You stop fearing it. You begin to see failure as a data point, a necessary correction on the path to the target. You understand that failure is a trickster with a keen sense of irony and cunning. Everything. It takes great delight in tripping one up when success is almost within reach. But the man who is awake at dawn sees the trick. He steps over the tripwire. You are building an internal gyroscope that keeps you upright no matter how hard the world pushes you. Everything. This stability allows you to practice the golden rule, not as a moral platitude, but as a business strategy. Hill taught that you can best help yourself by helping others. The 5 a.m. hour gives you the capacity to help. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Everything. By filling your own cup first thing in the morning. Filling it with peace, with plan, with power. You have something to give to the world when you step into it. When you interact with your team, your family, your clients, you are not looking to extract value from them to fill a hole in yourself. Everything. You are overflowing. You are radiating. You become a source of solutions. And in a world of problems, the problem solver is the king. People will sense this shift. They will say, there is something different about you. They won't know that while they were hitting snooze, you were meditating on your vision. Everything. They won't know that while they were watching the news, you were studying the masters. They won't know that while they were dreading the day, you were designing it. They will call it luck. Let them. You know it is law. As you continue this journey, you must safeguard your mind against negative influences. Everything Hill spoke of the importance of closing the door to your mind. You must maintain a strict border control policy on your thoughts. The 5 a.m. hour is where you reinforce the walls. If you start the day scrolling through social media, you have left the front door wide open. You have allowed the envy, the outrage, everything, and the stupidity of the world to walk right into your living room with muddy boots. You have surrendered your sovereignty. But when you start the day with your own chosen inputs, your vision, your reading, your gratitude, you are posting armed guards at the gate. You are declaring everything. Nothing enters this temple unless it serves the mission. This mental hygiene is critical. You cannot build a skyscraper on a foundation of garbage. Over time, this discipline creates a magnetic personality. This is not about charisma or charm. It is about the energy you project. Everything, a person who is in control of themselves is magnetic. A person who has a definite chief aim is magnetic. A person who vibrates with the energy of the dawn is magnetic. You will find that you no longer have to chase opportunities. Opportunities will begin to seek you out. The law of attraction is not a passive law. Everything, it is active. It responds to the signal you are broadcasting. And the strongest signal is the one broadcast in the silence of the morning, backed by the action of the day. You are becoming a master, and a master does not dabble. A master does not try the 5 a.m. code for a week to see if it works. A master commits everything. A master understands that the first battle of the day is the only battle that matters because it determines the outcome of all the others. So tomorrow, when the darkness is still pressing against the window and the bed is warm and the voice of weakness whispers, just 5 more minutes, remember who you are. Everything. Remember the agreement you made with your destiny. Remember that comfortable men do not build empires. Remember that rested men do not change history. Remember that the soft path leads to a hard life, and the hard path leads to a life of limitless freedom. Swing your legs out, stand up, breathe in the silence. Everything, you are awake, and because you are awake, anything is possible. And this possibility is not a gamble, it is a guarantee written in the laws of nature. You are engaging the law of increasing returns. Just as a farmer plants a single seed to reap a harvest of corn, you plant a single hour of focused intensity to reap a lifetime of freedom. But the farmer does not dig up the seed every few hours to see if it is growing. He trusts the soil. He trusts the rain. He trusts the seasons. You must trust the process. In the silence of 5 a.m., everything, you are planting the seeds of your future empire in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. You may not see the stalk breaking through the ground tomorrow. You may not see the ear of corn next week. But underneath the surface, in the dark, rich earth of your psyche, a complex root system is forming. It is anchoring you. It is preparing to support a weight of success that would crush a weaker man. This is why the majority fail. They are addicted to the harvest, but they despise the planting. They want the applause without the rehearsal. They want the view from the summit without the climb in the dark. They are children demanding candy, while you are an architect building a cathedral. Cathedrals take time. Cathedrals require a foundation deep enough to hold the spire. Your morning ritual is that foundation. It is the bedrock that keeps you standing when the storms of life rage. And make no mistake, everything the storms will come. Napoleon Hill warned us that strength grows out of struggle. The universe will test your resolve. It will send you financial setbacks. It will send you betrayals. It will send you exhaustion. These are not punishments, they are qualifiers. They are the universe asking, are you sure? Everything. Do you really want this, or are you just talk? The man who sleeps and has no defense against these storms, he is blown about like a dry leaf. But you have the anchor. When the crisis hits at 2 p.m., you can close your eyes for a second and tap back into the power you generated at 5 a.m. Everything. You can recall the clarity of your vision. You can remember the strength of your decree. You have a reservoir of peace that the chaos of the world cannot drain. You are the calm eye in the center of the hurricane. Everything. This is the state of self-mastery. It is the point where you stop fighting the world and start commanding yourself. You realize that the only problem you ever have is you, and the only solution you ever have is you. The 5 a.m. code removes the excuses. It strips you bare. Everything. It forces you to look in the mirror and take radical responsibility for your existence. And in that responsibility, you find true freedom. You stop blaming the economy. You stop blaming the government. You stop blaming your parents. You realize that you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Everything you hold the pen. And every morning in the quiet before the dawn, you have the privilege of writing the next page of your history. Do not write a tragedy. Do not write a story of almost, and someday, write a heroic epic. Write a story of courage, of persistence, of a will that refused to break. Everything. Write a story that will make your children proud and your enemies envious. Napoleon Hill spent a lifetime searching for the secret of success, and he found that it wasn't hidden in a vault or buried on an island. It was hidden in the daily habits of men. It was hidden in the routine. Everything. The secret is that there is no secret. There is only the system. And the system begins when the alarm rings. So let this be your covenant. Let this be the contract you sign with yourself in blood and sweat. No more drifting. No more negotiating. No more waiting for the right time. The right time is now. The right time is 5 a.m. As you move forward, you will become a beacon for others. You will not need to preach to them. Your life will be the sermon. They will see your energy, your focus, your results, and they will ask, how? And you will simply smile, knowing that while they were dreaming of living, you were busy living your dream. You are becoming one of the few. The few who do, the few who dare, the few who serve. You are stepping out of the gray twilight of mediocrity and into the bright, burning sunlight of greatness. The world is waiting for you. It is waiting for your leadership, everything. It is waiting for your creation. It is waiting for the version of you that only exists on the other side of discipline. Do not keep the world waiting. Tonight, set the alarm, lay out your clothes, prepare your mind, and tomorrow, when the call comes, do not hesitate. Rise. Win the morning. Win the day. Everything. Build your empire. The clock is ticking. The game is on. Your move.